Hello and welcome back to Garden and Allotment Tips podcast hosted by Gardening with Ben. If you're new to this podcast, make sure you follow me on social media, Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. Just search for Gardening with Ben where we do live videos as well. And make sure you check out my other podcast channel as well. That's called Gardening with Ben. You can click the link in the description or search for it on any podcast platform. So today we're going to be talking about growing sweet corn successfully at the allotment. Now, sweet corn is one of my prized possessions, what I absolutely love to grow down on my allotment, and the reason for this is because you have never tasted anything so nicer than fresh sweet corn from the cob. And the reason for this is that as soon as you start picking it, it starts losing its flavours because the sugars start to change and it starts to lose its flavour. So you need to pick it and eat it straight away. So only harvest what you actually need rather than harvesting it all at the same time. And sweet corn is very easy to grow. It can be really easy to grow. And when you're growing sweet corn, if you've not started any off, obviously it's too late to start some off now, but you can go to plenty of garden centres and you will be able to find plenty of sweet corn plants available to purchase. And the best thing about growing sweet corn is that all you need to do is plant it in square blocks. And planting it in square blocks means that you plant it 4 in a row by 4 down, so that means you'd be planting 16 plants. I had to think of the maths then. But yeah, they need to be planted in square blocks. The reason, and not in rows like I've seen a lot of people posting on social media. And the reason why they have to be planted in square blocks is because of pollination. Now, as the wind blows, the sweet corn blows its pollination to each plant, and the pollination catches on the tassels at the end of the sweet corn cob, and that's what causes the pollination to create the corn on the cob. And without that, you won't get a decent crop of sweet corn. You'll end up getting plenty of sweet corn missing from the cob, and it'll just be a bare cob on its own, and that's not what you want. You want a full cob of corn. Now, I've done this for many of years growing sweet corn, and I get great success year on year. Now, once you've planted it, all you have to do is make sure you keep it weed free, because the sweet corn plants do not like to compete against the weeds. Now, sweet corn plants can grow really tall, extremely tall, and obviously the more you water them, the more they will grow and the more cobs they will get on them, because the taller they get, the more cobs they get on them. Average cobs on a sweet corn can be between 4 and 6. Now, the taller you get it, the more cobs you'll get on it, because there's more space for it to grow. So you need it to be kept weed free, and even though they're quite tall, the roots are quite shallow on the sweet corn cobs, so that's why it needs to compete with getting the nutrients and the water from the soil. So you need to make sure you keep them watered as well, because yeah, it could be quite damp underneath, but the roots don't go that low on a sweet corn, so you need to keep them watered and keep them growing really well. And obviously you need to keep them fed and give them nutrition that they need to help build up the strength to grow decent as well, and to get the good crops on it. And you can feed them once a week with feed, or you can chuck on chicken pellets, or chuck on other different food to give them the nutrients to help them to grow nice and strong. Now, the only problem is with sweet corn is that not just humans like it, but mice and rats and squirrels like them as well. Now, last year, quite a few years ago, I once left my sweet corn thinking, I'll pick it the next day, and I went back the next day and literally every sweet corn had been took by mice or rats. You could tell everyone had been eaten, and all the corn had been eaten, and they'd loved it all, because it's obviously sending out the smell that it's ready, and it attracts the mice and the rats. So you need to try and protect them from them and try and barricade them off a bit. I know obviously it's hard, you can't really necessarily barricade them off, but also last year I noticed on my dad's plot one morning a crafty squirrel had got a full cob in its hands, and it had pinched it off the sweetcorn plant. It had literally got the full cob in its hand and it was dragging it away to eat. Now what I did, I phoned my dad up. I said, Dad, you need to protect your sweetcorn, the squirrels are after it. And other people's had been literally stripped by the squirrel, so obviously it's got a very good taste because everybody loves sweetcorn. So what my dad did, he put plastic bottles over the ends of them, and this stopped the squirrel from pinching any, and obviously it has stopped mice and rats from taking them as well. So if you're wanting to protect your sweet corn and you get plastic bottles, start saving them, because then you can shove them all over the ends of the corns just about before the ripening, so that nothing pinches them, like the squirrels or the rats or the mice, and you will protect them from being pinched. And like I said in the beginning, is that when they are ready, usually the ends go brown on the sweet corn. This usually shows that they're ready, and you can usually peel them back and you can see that they're starting to turn yellow. So once they're ready, what you need to do is just pick what you want. Don't pick them all, just pick what you want as you're leaving the plot, not when you've got to the plot, as you're leaving the plot, because like I said, they start losing the flavour straight away. And get them home and cook them straight away, and they will be the juiciest, tastiest sweet corn you have ever tasted. And I'm not lying about that, and I'm sure other gardeners will back me up on that. The quicker you pick them and the quicker that you eat them, the better and tastier they are. And you can search that all online, and that is a legitimate truth about growing sweet corn. So if you've never tried growing sweet corn before, go to the garden centre, go and get some plants, plant some out in the square blocks like I said, and let me know how you get on. And yeah, you can't grow them in pots, they do need to be grown in the ground, so you need obviously plenty of space to grow them because they do grow quite tall, but you can plant them quite close together because they do need to pollinate with one another. So I hope you found that useful, this podcast, and I hope that you found it interesting and got all the information you need for growing sweet corn. If you have, make sure you give us a follow, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you'll get notified when new podcasts come up. So until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcasts.